So this was not the video I was expecting to put out this week, especially being 2 days late. But it's the best I can do. Hello. My name is Ella Jean, your local fantasy writer, and today I am reminded that disabilities can be disabling. So I have a chronic illness. It is called HEDS, or hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. You will hear me call it HEDS throughout this because Danlos is like a word that I cannot say on a regular basis, especially when it's kicking my ass. What is it? For those of you who don't know, HEDS is a connective tissue disorder. So basically, I'm hypermobile. My joints move more than they should, and being hypermobile in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing. Being hypermobile is great. It can allow you to do a wide range of motion. But once you have HEDS, basically, instead of helping you and giving you a wider range of motions, your ligaments are no longer strong enough. They've been stretched out. And as a result, your muscles are trying to keep your joints in place instead of your ligaments keeping your joints in place. And as a result, you are basically always fighting your body wanting to fall to pieces. I've only had HEDS for about a year and a half. I don't know exactly what triggered it. Triggers are odd. It's basically if you can have all the symptoms of hypermobility, but then not have HEDS for reasons. A lot of times in this day and age, you're hearing about it more and more because COVID was a trigger. I don't think COVID triggered mine. I believe I was doing weightlifting a year and a half ago, and I was really good at it, and I was really passionate about it. And my favorite thing to do was weighted squats, and I was up to like 230 pounds, and I was so proud because that's more than I am. Thing is, hypermobile. Wasn't aware that I was hypermobile. As a result, I was, instead of doing squats like you're supposed to do, where your knees do not cross your toes, my knees crossed my toes every time. You see, normal people would do that type of squat once and be like, oh, that hurts. I'm going to stop doing that way and find the proper form. My body, being hypermobile, was like, yeah, we can stretch to that. And then I kept adding weight and like permanently fucked up my knees. I have osteoarthritis in my knees. I'm 22 years old. I get it, I'm bigger, but I'm sorry, 50 extra pounds of weight is not going to cause most 22-year-olds to have osteoarthritis in their knees. But regardless, I've been living with HEDS for a while now, and I try to push through, but with chronic illness, every once in a while you can't just push through. Actually, probably pushing through is a bad mindset to have, but I am young and stubborn. This is not advice for people with chronic illnesses. This is just a statement of a fact that I continue trying to push through things. And then days like this happens, where it is physically exhausting to hold my body up. You may have noticed that I keep doing this. That is because my neck is exhausted from holding up my head. That isn't normal. That isn't normal. That isn't normal in the slightest. But it is when you have HEDS. Basically, I've hit a point where I pushed too far and triggered a flare. A flare is when all your symptoms become much worse than they usually are. For anyone in the audience who's aware of chronic illnesses, I may have more than HEDS, but it's only been a year, and it takes a while for doctors to diagnose things. So if you're sitting in the corner going like, oh, that symptom doesn't align with HEDS, I'm probably aware of that. Doctors, just take a minute to figure that shit out. I guess this is all to say you gotta remember to take care of yourself and take care of your body, even if you don't have a chronic illness. Pushing through all the time is going to cause, at the very least, burnout, at the most, being unable to hold your head up for long periods of time. So take care of yourself. Don't be focused all the time on having to produce things. That is a capitalistic mindset, and I understand the world we live in is capitalism. But where you can, taking breaks and giving yourself time to recover is important. I hope next week I will return with a video that is fun about writing stuff. Right now, I can't even bring myself to write because my fingers get exhausted. Do you know how stupid that is? My fingers get exhausted. Then once my fingers get exhausted, my brain gets exhausted. It is... Chronic illnesses, do not recommend. Avoid them at all costs. Do I remember my outro? Yes, I think I do. But always remember, writing is difficult, especially when you have a chronic illness and it's kicking your ass. And daring to continue past the first page is brave, especially the way the world is right now, with capitalism beating all of us. But I want to form a community, because even at the end of the day, I truly believe that anyone can write, and everyone has a story in them.